All right, let's get into today's show. What's our first question?
Rebecca Mitchell asks, do you have a recommendation for determining the percentage split under a partnership contract? What is the best way to be fair to each party but not be foolish in giving too much business equity away, particularly if one partner brings more money into the partnership?
Rebecca, great question. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Like, partnerships can be fantastic. I mean, you know, bringing in a lot of people get quite protective over their equity, and I don't think that's a smart move. I think partnerships can be really, really smart. And you know, we invest in businesses from time to time when I see somebody that's, you know, worth investing in, good business, going to fly, that sort of thing. So I'm all for partnerships. But a couple of things to consider. So yes, don't, you know, we don't want to be stingy about giving away equity because we want to value what they're bringing, and they're bringing, you know, a whole bunch of things: money, smarts, mindset, opportunities, networks, those sort of things. But I personally think that you need to draw a line in the sand, you know, certainly at 49%. I think it's foolish to give away 50% of a business, personally, because you run the risk of being at loggerheads come a decision time. So I would never give away more than 49% of a business, okay? Just because, you know, the Bible talks about being the head and not the tail. It's very hard to be the head when you're a minority shareholder, even if it's just by 1%. You know, when it comes to voting time on an important decision about spending some money, about what to do with the profit, you know, you're outvoted. So you know, I would be very, very, very protective of 51%. Also, I mean, you can own 1% of a business and sway the other 99% stakeholders to go your way. So you know, it's not hard and fast that if you have 51%, you have the ultimate say and you can just kick everybody else out. It doesn't work like that. There are plenty of precedents. There's a magic number at about 14, 15, 16%. When somebody owns 14, 15, 16% of a business, they actually have, only through precedents, not through case law, but they have, you know, they basically have rights to get what they want, all right? So you just got to have a little bit of a look around and have a play around. But we want to value them at the same time. So we're not trying to say, you know, like we want to squish you down to this minority shareholder, because it doesn't incentivize the partner to want to come and help grow the business. So you've got to find that nice balance, but never more than 50%. Okay, so 49 should be a cutoff because you want to be that decision maker. The other part of your question was, you know, how do you do it when one's bringing more money into the table? I reckon there's more than one type of capital that you need to consider, all right? So I would put them into three categories. There's financial capital, okay? So that's the money, the hard dollars people are bringing in to the partnership. I would call it working capital, like sweat. Like, are they gonna be active in the business and not taking a wage? Therefore, you know, they're basically buying equity. And then I call it social capital, which is basically, do they have a network? Like, quite often when we invest in businesses, we already have thousands of business people that we can go to and we can say, hey, listen, you know, this is a great business for you, and then it flies because we've got this here and we value that. But having said that, out of those three capital, you know, groups, I would say to you that the financial capital is the hardest to come by, all right? That's why an investor can demand, you know, a fair bit of a business, because the hardest one to come by is the financial capital. So I guess you just got to look at what they're bringing to the table and kind of, you know, give them their own merit. If one is putting more money in, hard money, I would give that more weight than anything else, because it's the hardest thing to come by is actual cash. Many people will work hard, right? Many people can introduce you to people, but somebody's going to put cold, hard cash that they've had to earn on the table. That's a different story. I think that gets more weight. So if I had a business and I had run out of money and I was bringing in a partner who had money, I would really value that capital above and beyond, you know, the other things that they could do for me. All right. So just by sharing that out, I mean, having said that, I think the best partnerships are the ones where you're totally transparent. I would sit down with a potential partner and say, hey, listen, there are three types of capital. There's money capital, there's social capital, you know, and I'm going to weight them differently. And which one do you bring? And then come up with an agreed amount, you know. And in my experience, everything's negotiable. And the more upfront you are at the start of the relationship, the easier it becomes. All right. Just a complete side note to the question that you didn't ask. Partnerships are wonderful, and you work out your equity. One of my favorite things to do with a partnership is, I mean, because there's usually a discrepancy between how much they're looking for and how much you're happy to give away. You know, like, well, I want, you know, I want 49% of this business for my partnership. And you're like, well, I only value what you're bringing as 25. The way I would do it is I would go, okay, well, we're going to start you at 25, but in my partnership agreement, we're going to ratchet your equity up over time when you do, or when you hit the milestones that you say you're going to do, right? So let's play this out. So somebody says, well, my partnership money's worth 49%. I reckon it's only worth 25. Cool. We're going to start with 25% equity, but we're going to vest you 5% at each of these milestones that we set. So when your network brings me 10 new customers, you'll get another 5%. When your network brings me another 10 customers, you'll get another 5%. So they vest the addition, so they get to their 49%, but you haven't given away 49% to somebody who's unproven. You gave away 25% and they had to earn the rest over time, okay? Set with a series of KPIs, whether it be dollars they brought in, customers they introduce you to, whatever it is that they're bringing to the table. Ratchet up their equity over time. That way because if they're not prepared to go for that deal, that would be an alarm bell for me that they're not legit, because they're trying to get in without proving themselves. Any partner that's worth their weight, if they saw a contract that says, yeah, I get to exactly what I want, but I've got to put the effort in, or the money in, or the work in, then they would do it because they're confident that they can bring that to the table. So that's the way I just kind of push back a little bit against those people that want big equity, and I find a different way of delivering them what they want, as long as I get what I want, and I put that into a contract and everyone signs and everyone's happy.